Hello, maestros. This is Dr. Ana Valdez from the Latinx Education Collaborative, LEC. I'm just checking in on our weekly Ask an Educator. And as you know, over the past couple of weeks, we have been doing a special segment called Ask a Storyteller. That is because we have our Expresión storytelling fellows participating with us over the last few weeks and again today. And so wanted to give everybody an opportunity to kind of learn a little bit more about our fellowship Expresión and meet the people that have gone through the program. So I'm super excited today to share another storyteller with you. And our storyteller, got her brief bio, and I'm going to read it to you here. Our storyteller is Elizabeth Perez. And Elizabeth is an admissions counselor at Heritage University Tri-Cities, and that is in Kennewick, Washington. And that's Washington State, for those of you who might be geographically challenged. Elizabeth is originally from Oaxaca, Mexico. And so I'm really excited to hear from her if she has any insights or secrets about making the best mole. And also, she focuses on creating equitable pathways to higher education by connecting with students and families across the Tri-Cities through school visits, college fairs, and community events. Elizabeth earned her bachelor's in elementary education from Washington State University and is pursuing her master's in multicultural English literature and language at Heritage University. Through her work, Elizabeth has helped increase student engagement by organizing bilingual presentations for migrant families and developing the first ever student ambassador program at Heritage University Tri-Cities, an initiative that empowers students to take leadership roles in outreach and campus events. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you Elizabeth Perez.
Hi,
Hi, Liz,
Anna.
how are you?
Hi, Anna. I'm doing well. Thank you so much. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks for joining us today. I really am excited to talk to you about all the stuff that you work on up in Washington and how we got connected with you through LEC and what is your why to making everything work and as beautifully as it does for your students and everything. And of course, then the secret recipe to mole that you might have. But first, I wanted to give everybody an opportunity to find out a little bit more about who you are and what makes Elizabeth or Liz. I guess if I say Elizabeth, that might remind you a little bit about your mom calling you in for supper, right? Or when you're in trouble. But tell us a little bit about your origin story. Like, who is Liz Perez and what makes you tick and why you do what you do?
Yes, thank you. So, yeah, my name is Elizabeth. I was born in Oaxaca, Mexico, but at 3 years old, I moved to Washington State. So we've been here all my life, basically. Um, I come from a really small town, rural agricultural town. My parents work in agriculture, so I definitely grew up around a lot of apple trees. When I was in school, my parents always told me, "You will go to school. You are gonna go to college. You're gonna go to university." So I always knew that that is a pathway that I wanted to take. But like many first gen students, I didn't know exactly what to study. So throughout my undergraduate degree, I was doing various things. I went from dietitianist to then social work, and then finally education was what I landed on. I at the beginning did it because a lot of friends were doing it, but then I really loved it. I loved being in the classroom. I got elementary education, so I loved spending my time with my mentor teacher. I was also involved during that time with various clubs in undergrad. So I also had this little idea spark that I was like, maybe I could do university or higher ed in the future. So after graduation, I was able to apply to different jobs, got a job through community college for financial aid. And then after that, finally, I saw a job open up for Heritage University, where I'm currently working at as an admissions counselor. And I applied, received the yes, and now I'm working here as their Tri-Cities admissions counselor.
That's awesome. Now, how long have you been at Tri-Cities?
Yeah, so here I'm gonna be almost 3 years into my role for admissions. And then before that, I did financial aid for a local community college. So that was about a year or so for that work.
Hmm. Tell us a little bit, because I hadn't heard of Heritage, and we're based here in the Midwest in Kansas City, and so tell us a little bit about Heritage University. Yeah, that's right, Heritage University Tri-Cities. Tell us a little bit about it, because I saw that it is a Hispanic serving institution and something I hadn't seen before, which was a native, and I'm going to say this wrong, but it had some type of native designation as well.
Yeah, so Heritage University has been in Washington State since 1983, I believe. But basically, university was founded by three women, two of the Yakama Nation, which is a Native American tribe, the homeland where the university stands on now. And then during that time, 1983, I know a community college was going to close down. So there was a lot of what we call the lower valley students, communities that were during that time underrepresented, wouldn't have options for higher ed. So the three women got together, re- requested from the Yakama Nation if they could build an institution there, and they got approved. Then after that, they began to serve students that may have different barriers. For
Mhm.
example, economic, their first generation. As they continue to serve more Hispanic and Latino students, and also continue to serve the Native American students, the institution became a Hispanic serving and non-tribal university. So I believe we're one of two in the whole nation that serves Hispanic and non-tribal students. So it's really cool to be able to now be a part of that mission.
Mhm.
I work for the Tri-City site. This site has actually just been open a year and a half since
Mm.
2023. And that was because the main university expanded out to other cities where there's a little bit of a bigger population. These are more a little bit more populated versus what they call the lower valley, where it's small towns. A lot of the students live nearby, so they just go there. But we're a private university, and a four-year university as well.
Awesome. And obviously, you offer master's programs.
Yes, we currently, I believe, have five master's programs, and one of them I'm currently doing right now with them.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you have doctorate programs as well, or just the master level?
Yeah, I think in the future they're looking into bringing a doctorate program, but as of right now, just masters.
Okay, awesome.
Mhm.
That's so cool. I had never heard of the non-tribal designation before, and so that was a new learning for me. And so I wanted you to kind of talk to us a little bit about what that is, and the distinction and why is it
Mhm.
important. So thank you for sharing that information with us. That's just it's fascinating. And like you said, it's one of two in the entire country. That's even more unique. So you're an admissions counselor there. You've been there about 3 years. How did you clear out in Washington State? How did you hear about this organization, LAC, and what inspired you to be a part of the fellowship for the storytelling?
Yeah, so it's a funny story. A friend of mine sent it through LinkedIn. Her name is Jocelyn. In case she sees this, I'm gonna send her the link. But so my best friend Jocelyn, she sent me the link, and she told me, "Hey, you should apply to this. I feel like you'll be great." And I was like, okay. During that time, obviously, there was a lot of things happening locally and also through politics nationally. So I kind of wanted to be in a setting where I could talk to other Hispanic, Latino leaders. And I saw this opportunity. I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. And then I found out that the person leading it was Luis Ortega, and I remember Luis because in Washington State, he was part of something called ASWL, which was like a student government event that was held here in Washington State where all high schools gathered. And I remember he was a keynote speaker. I don't remember what he spoke on, but I do remember he was very passionate. And since then, I followed him a little bit through social media. Then I did my undergraduate degree, and then I forgot to look at LinkedIn, but came back and then I saw that and I was like, oh my God. And it was really cool to find out that it was Luis leading it. And I could also learn from Luis. And I found out that it's been going on for, I believe, 2 years now. So it was really cool to see and also get to meet other people from various areas of the nation too.
Yeah, I have had the chance to meet Luis through this program. I haven't gone through the program myself, but he definitely is an impassioned speaker. And I could see where you would be like, "Oh, okay, I know this guy. I know what what he stands for." And it's a really sounds interesting program. So I believe you actually are part of the fifth cohort. So we do this once a year, and I believe if I'm correct, the fifth cohort, and we're getting ready to open up applications in about a month for the cohort that'll start or launch in February.
Mm-hmm.
So you touched on a couple of things that I wanted to expand upon, and that is the whole process. So you said a friend sent to you at the link, and you went through and looked at it and kind of did your own research. What was the big selling point, if you will, for you to say, yeah, this is something I want to dedicate? Because it is a fellowship. You are asked to participate on the weekends, on Saturdays, and I believe I want to say it's 4 hours on Saturdays, and it's 9 consecutive Saturdays that you participate in. So yeah, I mean, it's not just something that people go into lightly. So what was it that you saw and said, oh yeah, this is something I definitely can add myself to?
Yeah, I think for the longest time, this is something that I think I always want to do. I wanted to write my story, write about how it is to be undocumented living in the United States. But I knew I didn't really have, I would say, some skills or really know how to. So I think in the back of my mind, I wanted to do the fellowship because I wanted to be a little bit more um, expressive of my story, of writing, something that I've never done because I feel like I've always thought about writing as academic or I need to submit an essay through my undergraduate studies. So I wanted it as a place where I could have fun, learn, where I can share my story and be in a space where people are listening and also sharing their stories. So I thought this was a good opportunity. And even more because I knew Luis was going to be there and I knew he was a great speaker. I was like, okay, I want to say yes to this. From doing that, I definitely learned a lot. I learned that I wasn't as open or didn't really know how to share my story until I attended this event and then attended the fellowship, applied, was able to now do it and go through it. And I was able to become, I want to say, a better writer, but how and make it fun and not in the academic way. So that inspired me and had me continue on. And also because of everything happening politically, I wanted a way where I can also vent about what was happening in a setting where others may have also vented that way as well.
Yeah, that was safe. That you
Mhm.
had, and that's, I think, one of the big points, attractive points that people have is that it's a safe environment. So not only are you writing from, I like to say, writing from your soul, right? Because this is often the first time as adults that we're asked to write so deeply into our layers that we are kind of just, lack of a better visual, tearing ourselves open and sharing that information from the inside out. And so, yeah, we
Mhm.
definitely, Luis and Yvonne, collaborate, and Yvonne's from our team, collaborate to ensure that the storytellers are safe, feel safe, and are safe as they go through this process. So tell me this: you went through this, it wrapped up, and a little bit before, right about the beginning of the summer, so June timeframe. What have you used with your students back at Tri Cities?
Yeah, so for this fellowship, I think, well, one of the personal things that I was able to do with it, I decided to do my master's. So I did it on literature and English instead. And I'm looking forward to hopefully in the future be a professor of English. That is something where I've kind of struggled in when I was younger and also in undergrad. So I knew that maybe a way on how I can help was through the fellowship that I did, storytelling your own way, but also academically. So that's what I've done personally. For my students currently, I think this has also helped me. I currently run a program called the Student Ambassador Program through my job, and with that, I uh, am now able to also use some of the skills that I learned for students to also share their stories. Our student ambassadors are through our admissions department talk about our university, talk about their own stories. So I'm able to do a little bit of that storytelling with them now for them to also share it with other students, families. Yeah, so I kind of was able to introduce that a little bit for them as well.
Oh, that's awesome. That's exactly why we encourage people to participate, and then being able to take it back to your community, your school, your students, and being able to show them the benefit of storytelling. And as we know, and as you shared with us, not only we have the history of storytelling within the Latino community. Of course, the indigenous communities have that as a tradition as well, and so it kind of just revitalizes a tradition that many of us have lost because of our immigration stories, and how they've passed, or just not a tradition that with the day of AI, with the age of AI, that people are really utilizing their own voice or utilizing
Mhm.
their own thoughts, and relying heavily on some type of other artificial means to share those things. So I think that organically, being able to teach that to the young people, and I sound like I'm 1,000 years old, but to students these days is just something so organic and genuine that you can bring to them. So that's awesome. That is so awesome. Have the students said anything, or have they produced anything along the lines of storytelling?
Um, Not along the lines of storytelling, but I now do introduce a little bit more of how they should read a little bit more about storytelling versus academic. So I sometimes because of my master's degree, I also am reading other books that I am presenting to them. Hopefully that they read. But I do understand that a lot of them are doing their studies, so they may not have time as well.
Sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. So this is definitely something that you would encourage people to participate in, obviously. Um, what is a piece of advice that you either have shared with your students, or you would share with the audience that are, that have joined us today, or will watch this later?
Yeah, I think as a current educator or whether it's like in a high school, elementary school, university, I feel like Latinos may be facing a little bit more of challenges during this time. So I feel like a reminder that there has been times like this before, and a lot of people have been able to pass through it. So I always try to remind myself everything will pass, but I think if you want a place to be able to express yourself, meet other great people, leaders in the community who also may be feeling the same way, I would say apply to this. And also, I feel like this would be also a really good opportunity for in the future um, to also be vulnerable in front of your students, where I think a lot of people may not do that as we get older. because
Mm-hmm.
we're day to day doing our tasks, our stuff. I would say it gives you a really good opportunity to now be vulnerable and share what's happening with your students through storytelling or just chatting, telling other students. So I think this program or an advice in general that I would definitely give to everyone is being more vulnerable in the future, whether it's you writing a script for public speaking, your lecture, homework assignments that you may not be grading yet because of
Mm-hmm.
uh, things happening with your principal or in the university that there might be attacks happening, to not forget that your voice can change one student's life. So I would say that.
Wow. Your voice can change one person's life. That is so, so true. That's a great piece of advice, Liz. Thank you so much for sharing that. Um, so, um, Tell us a little bit about this whole ambassador program. You've touched on it a couple of times in kind of your explanations, but tell us maybe there's another school, there's another admissions counselor, or some leader either at a high school or at a university, and they might hear this and say, "Oh, this will work in my school." So tell us a little bit about this ambassador program and what's involved with for your students, and um, what do they
Yeah,
get?
yeah, super cool. So this actually was inspiration from when I was in my freshman year of college. I before that in high school, I had a advisor who was trying to get me to a 4 year university, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to get into that 4 year university. So he told me about a community college where they had a program called the Student Ambassador Program,
Mhm.
where they pay your tuition and you're able to do about 10 hours of work. So it's
Mm,
kind of like a part time job.
sure.
Um, I was able to apply, I got in. Through that, I learned a lot of public speaking skills, how to be more confident, because I was not confident at all. How to also write professionally. So there was a lot of things that you learn for yourself, for skills in the future that you could take for your job.
Mhm.
However, this program was only you had to apply, and usually a lot of people apply to it. So one of the things that I found out was that a lot of Latino students were being left out of this program
Hmm.
during that time. So I, coming into Heritage University, it was new. We didn't have a program like this, but I knew I had a little bit of experience on how it was done in my other community college that I attended.
Mhm.
So I was like, oh my God, maybe I can do this here. Our main campus also had a student ambassador program. So I got information from our coordinators in our main campus. Then I brought it to Tri Cities, but I kind of did my own thing. So for this one, I also built it a little bit like how it was for my experience, where students do 10 hours of service. So for us, students don't get paid, but I wanted a space where students can come together and develop their leadership skills, their public speaking skills, and not necessarily have to get taken out of it because um, they're Latino. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this here. So at first we began with 3 students. After that, we began with 5, and then now we have 7. So we currently have 7 student ambassadors. So they're, um, I guess, how we support them is mentoring. So we have 3 admissions counselors, and each of us have 2 students that we mentor, and then we also give them advice for resume, how to network, connect with the community. We send them information for events happening, but they also support us in our admissions recruitment. So they attend with us for community events, college fairs, high school visits. They get to share their stories. They get to talk to various people as well. They also do fun stuff, like we did a writing Santa letters to Santa. So we helped our local community, and we were able to write some letters with kiddos in our community, and send it out to Santa for the kids. So yeah, we do a little bit of everything, but I knew I wanted to bring it to Heritage Tri-Cities during that time because we didn't really have student voice, and I wanted that student voice to shine. So I learned from my experience back when I was younger, checked in with our main campus, and was able to now start it here at Tri-Cities.
That's awesome. And I love how long have you had the program going?
I have had it now for a year, a solid year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you started from 0 to 7 in 1 year. That's awesome. That's a
Yeah.
really good growth. Yeah, so that's a good number of young people to come on board to, take the risk of, like you said, learning public speaking, meeting people, being the face of the university. That is all for young people. That's just a scary thing, especially coming out of everything that, or dealing with everything that we've got going on in the country. So I think congratulations, that's a really good achievement. So you should be proud of that. Not that you need me to tell you that, but I'm proud of it for you. So, and I'm sure that the kids are just learning, the students are learning just tons of different skill sets that they hadn't even imagined that they needed to know or could learn. So, okay, so let's get to the important stuff. Do you have a secret for your mole? Because you're from Oaxaca, and that is the capital, world capital for mole. What's your favorite? What mole? And do you have a secret? And if you don't have a secret, just know it's going to go out on the internet. So
That's a great question. I wish I knew a secret. Because my mom is the one that usually makes it. I unfortunately have not learned how to make it, and that is something that I probably will probably have to learn someday. But I do know that I think one of the things that my mom mentioned was asando. How do you say this? Grilling, not grilling. I'm gonna say it in Spanish for my Spanish speaking people. Asando the peanuts. So you can add a little bit of peanuts
roasting.
in there. Roasting, yeah.
Yeah.
Roasting the peanuts, she said would be something that you can definitely do. Some people like it spicier, so if you want more spice, put less chocolate because it does contain a little bit of chocolate,
Yep.
cocoa beans. So you can also put more chiles guajillos if you want, or less if you want that sweet taste too.
Mhm. So would that be how your mom makes it? Would that be, is it black? I think it's black mole.
Yeah,
Or
so I
negro?
know. Yes, I think there's about like 7 different moles. I
I
think so,
I've seen,
all around
like,
it.
yeah, I know that there's a lot of different recipes and all the different things, and so I thought, it's a tradition. I mean, my family's originally from Mexico, and so when I saw Oaxaca, I was like, oh. But
Yeah.
what I would tell you is that you need to make the time to learn that recipe. I always said, "Oh, I'm going to learn how to make tortillas like my mom," and then one day I no longer had the time because she was gone, and so that's one regret that I would have, or that I do have, not learning how she made tortillas, and now I miss that. And so I would just say, find it, make the time. And anybody who's out there who says, "Oh, I'm going to get with my parents and learn about our family history," don't put it off. That is something that you definitely need to do because we don't live forever. They are older than us and they don't live forever. So just taking advantage of that time that you have with them. So we're at the end of our time, and I wanted to ask you if there's any last bit of advice that you would like to leave our audience.
Um, no, I think I mean, I'm still learning so many things in this world.
Sure.
I think definitely through the fellowship, I was definitely inspired by a lot of people there that have done so many accomplishments, but also a lot of Latinos. Yeah, but I think you guys are doing great work, and yeah, like I said, my only advice would be to continue to, if you can, share your story, be vulnerable, because you never know who's listening and who may need it during that time.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Liz, thank you so much for joining us today. If I could give a shout out to you and your student ambassadors at Tri-Cities, what is it?
Certainly.
Heritage University Tri-Cities. I knew I was leaving a part of it off. I apologize. Give you a shout out for doing all the great stuff that you're doing out there. And just like you said, keep writing, keep exploring, keep finding the various layers of yourself. So that's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Before we go, just a quick reminder that this Saturday, in 2 days, 48 hours or less now, we are going to be doing our annual Evolucion. It is our fourth, it's they're going to hate me for this, eighth annual Evolucion. And this year we're doing it virtually. So we did that during COVID, but this year we thought we would try a virtual Evolucion conference. And so you can join us in your pajamas. Liz, you can join us in your pajamas from Washington because it'll be 8 a.m. your time, 10 a.m. Central. And you can register at the link below that's scrolling through, leckc.org/evo25. We are giving away t-shirts for the first 100 people that have registered. So if you haven't registered yet, get online today, register, join us. We have a great lineup of speakers. All of them are former storytellers, or not former storytellers, but have gone through the fellowship of the storytelling program that we offered. And so if you, Luis is one of our speakers, Liz. So if you want to participate and be inspired again by Luis Ortega, he is our keynote speaker for Evolucion. And then we have other speakers. We have a panel breakout session, plus how to use storytelling in your classroom. So if you haven't registered today, you're reading this or watching it later on. This Saturday, the 18th, is our Evolucion. And you can register at leckc.org/evo25. Next week, the 25th, which is also a Saturday, is our fall book club. And this year, we're super excited to be presenting our author, Gabby Belt. And Gabby wrote this book called I Am Yo Soy, and it's going to show up backwards in your video. So just know the animation, it's a completely bilingual book by Gabby Orozco Belt. And Gabby is a fantastic writer, and this book is for little kiddos, but she will walk through not only how to use this in your classroom, but she has a ton of resources. So that is coming up it's a 3-part series starting October 25th. It's our fall book club. So if you haven't registered for that, please do so that we can have you join us. And as you can see there, the leckc.org/fallbook25, that is where you go to register and join us for a 3-part series. So it's October 25th, November 8th, and November 15th. And we will dive into I Am Yo Soy for our fall book club conversation. I believe that is all that we have for you all today. Again, thanks to Liz Perez out of Heritage University Tri-Cities in Kennewick, Washington, and that's Washington State, so in the Pacific Northwest. Liz, thank you again for joining us. Thank you for sharing your stories, and thank you for doing what you're doing with our young people out in Washington. And I would just say, adelante, keep moving forward, keep sharing your story, and keep inspiring those young people. Thank you all very much for doing what you're doing, and I will see you all next week for another segment of Ask an Educator. Thanks and good luck.